I gained all those anymore. This is so heavy.
All right, welcome everybody to Own the Con. This will be a little bit different format, but everything else we've done has been a little bit different format too this week. So we got quite a few. I didn't actually track down to see if everybody's here. We got quite a few of the organizers. You would have seen most of these folks walking around the venue wearing an organizer badge had we had an in-person conference. And we were really close, and we kind of wanted to tell people a little bit about that. We'll probably do another session sometime later to debrief our experiences going virtual. But here we're going to have a bunch of sections on Own the Con. You can see a bunch of folks along the side, I think. Yes, looks like it. Dan's working on it.
I'm working on it.
And but you can also see them on the website. If you go to About, you got a bunch of little graphics that look somewhat like us. And before we get too far into anything else, it's quite important that we thank the sponsors that have helped us get to where we are. They were helping us have a successful in-person conference. It's a very required component of making KernelCon happen, and also very helpful in helping us make the transition to virtual. There are a lot of pieces that just would not have been possible not for the help of our sponsors, both financially and in some cases with other aspects. So Guide Point and Checkpoint at the top at Platinum. And then as we go down further through Gold and Silver and Tin, we got the First National Bank, FNTS, SecureWorks, ConAgra, Secure Sky, and Splunk in the CTF category, I believe. Adam will probably talk a little bit about that more later. Cirrus and Contrast in a 10, and then in one way or another contributing to the conference, Forefront 17, Union Bank and Trust. NARI was around in several different ways, all the way from training to one of our first virtual village experiences. Perspecta, No Starch had some prizes in here. Tool was here to do a lockpicking village, but we still got a presentation from a Tool member. And the mental health hackers are here, have been here all weekend, but they're also here tonight for a session. So huge thanks, pause for applause. If we would have had just, one more hour than we did to prepare for this, maybe we'd have like an applause track or something that we could play here. But we're getting things done kind of just in time for this conference. So last year we had Origin Story. And I thought it was worth for the folks that didn't make it last year or didn't remember. But much like the DerbyCon start, our story was a handful of us meeting at a bar, talking about tech and security stuff, and at a meeting at a pizza place. And then we started a DEF CON group, and then we started a conference. And we had some intuition that we thought it would work from some history in Omaha, but it was time for our region to get its own security con. And KernelCon 1 happened, and we and some others thought it happened well enough that we should probably do another one. So we spent a lot of time over the past year planning a great KernelCon 2 conference. And one of the things that we were grappling with last year was, how much content should we do 2 tracks? Should we do 2 days? And the questions that we grappled with and then solved for last year made with KernelCon 1 the success it was, and then also informed what we wanted to do for KernelCon 2. So then we started planning our second conference, and we're like, let's thoughtfully add more, but we don't want to overextend ourselves. We know that there's only 13 of us. We only have so much experience with this. Let's not overextend. And so for 2019, we thought of lots of things we were going to add. I'm not enumerating them here because we sort of have conscious thought for what we want to do in the future as well. But the things that we settled in on were training. We wanted to do pre-conference training. And we wanted to tackle recording. Right? That's in-person recording of the talks for the speakers that wanted it. So we made this decision early enough to ask the speakers their preferences and try and get that working so that we could eventually post videos to the website. Not anything about live streaming at all. But otherwise, we thought that we'd roughly do this year similar to last year. We just need the hotel space for twice as long, so that part was going to cost twice as much. We had to schedule training content and work out with the trainers how all that was going to work, and that was how it was supposed to happen. And we had lots of discussion about different types of themes. For the first one, we weren't sure if we even really needed a theme. We went with the origin story as the theme, and we had a lot of our speakers actually had really great stories about little slices of their history or how they got to the podium that they were staying at. So this year we did vision, which is probably pretty prominent on the website that you registered through. Clearly, we were influenced by the 2020 aspect of the year. Had some interesting options for swag that we could wear.
Yeah,
and nobody's wearing glasses. Dan's not pleased with this. And then we also have like clear hindsight, foresight type applications to vision that hopefully came through with some of the speaker talks. Now, one of the things that glasses down. One of the things that we did not have the forethought to change perhaps early enough was the twist, where all of the plans that we had done as a group for the better part of a year were suddenly we decided to make a huge change and not use any of them. So we decided to switch to a virtual conference on March 11th. So if you check your calendars, that gave us about 2 weeks from like actual decision to actual production for the conference. And the decision was not taken lightly. It's hard to remember, everybody's emotions and what the current state of affairs were at any time. But when we were making that decision, especially in the Midwest and the Great Plains, there was not much happening as far as the coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. And it seemed like as long as people used good judgment, we could probably still think about doing everything in person, or we could think about doing parts of it in person. So it was a very difficult decision to make. In hindsight now, not having the forethought, but in hindsight, I think that many people, I think all of us and many of our speakers and attendees think that ultimately was proven to be the right call. We'll see how everybody thinks about this format and what we're going to do in the future soon. We'll have a survey here that Adam and the folks have worked on. But it was a short rope to try and wrangle all of you attendees and all of the different experiences and trying to make them virtual. So Omaha's second HackerCon, I don't know if people remember, but last year when we did the Own the Con, we said there were about 340 people. Upon looking back, I think it was closer to 370 people at KernelCon 1. That same measurement is difficult to do in this format. So we have a couple of different numbers to throw at you, but it's unclear how well that maps to the 360 some people that were here last year. We had over 400 people register, but of course registration doesn't translate to interaction. So there's not really a great way to measure how many of those folks actually showed up. We think we had well over 200 people watching some of the streams. That's also a difficult thing to measure due to how the stream viewership is reported, at least live. Maybe we'll get different numbers historically. We did send out, Dan sent out, and his family single-handedly packed and sent out about 360 swag bags to you guys. Normally, we would have sort of crowdsourced that across the volunteers and the OC, but due to social distancing and the desire to be safe and keep our folks safe and offer you the experience, Dan's family kind of stood up and just did it all themselves. So huge thanks to them for getting that done. We had 2 great keynotes. Hopefully you're able to catch them. They started off each day very similar to last year. And then we were able to translate several of our experiences to virtual experiences where when we made the call, we weren't sure how this was going to work, but we translated some villages virtually. We translated some of the during conference workshops virtually. All of the training except for one translated to the virtual experience. We kept some of the competitions. I know many people were playing in the CTF competition, and I think some of the sponsors, and there were some sort of informal things happening in Discord, I hear. And hopefully the experience, while clearly different, hopefully it was positive for you. So if you look at the difference in our keynotes, like clearly last year you were with a bunch of like-minded folks in an audience, and you were looking at a screen perhaps distant across a conference hall, and our keynote presenter was there physically where you could walk up to them. So there are some trade-offs, but this year, the keynote looked very similar to the other speakers, and in some ways, there are some improvements. For example, the fidelity of the clarity of the speaker slides was quite likely much clearer on your experience at home than what you'd see from across the conference center. Just to throw some pieces of how it worked, in case you're watching this video later and didn't experience this during KernelCon or didn't happen to wander into this. One of the workshops one of the villages that was done was the OT village, pretty much single-handedly hosted by NARI, local university affiliate to Omaha here. And they did a really interesting job. I wasn't able to partake very much as a host, but they did a really interesting job setting some schedules and having people sort of walk in and out of this virtual experience. And you can see in the picture here that it worked on mobile. They had different angles going. They were really trying to showcase and have people feel present. Two of the workshops did translate with the SDR and the sensing things. What are you doing?
Doing bunny ears.
A couple of stats to sort of mirror some things that we did last year. We have interest. So this interest is an interesting measurement, right? But interest is this slide depicts the rough views of our website from registration. And then in this case, I stopped the graph when we went to virtual. There's different ways to sort of slice and dice the data, but this is sort of what the interest might have been had the virtual piece not happen. And we can always look at the data afterward as well. But there are a couple interesting stats coming up that are clearly from a post-virtual decision-making point of view. If we look at registration, we kind of flip back and forth, and you can see that actually our registration mirrors pretty well. And this one does include the entire time period from registration until the current conference. And we do have a bunch of remote attendees. Now, for those of you that know how geo IP location services work, some of those are quite likely false positives, especially in the center of the two-dimensional map around Africa and around the middle. But a lot of there is some accuracy, and there's some trends to be pulled out. And I went ahead and left the registration picture from last year. We didn't really have a physical registration desk, and they did such a good job last year that I thought that Hammond and the folks deserved another picture for this year. But if you look at viewing, which again, I think I mentioned a minute ago, I'm not sure how well I trust a lot of the live data that was coming from our streaming service. But there were definitely remote folks attending KernelCon that probably would not have been attending otherwise. And this was also evident in the training. Probably should have had Jerry submit some training slides for this, but the training went really well. We did all the training virtually. Most people used Zoom for that, but we did use a variety of technologies like GoToWebinar, and I think GoToTrainings was one of them. Okay, get over here. And some of the trainers, some of the trainees were clearly global, and they would not have attended otherwise. So this is a viewing map, just proportionally mapped during our first keynote by our streaming service. So we think that there were international viewers. So for CFP, we had a great turnout. This is the part that I'm the closest to as the CFP chair. We had a lot of great submissions. I think a lot of people also kind of opened their minds for next year and got some sort of follow-on talk or some novel talk ideas. So we'd love to have your submissions next year. There was some mention in chat earlier today about first-time speakers. We welcome first-time speakers. We'll work with you in whatever capacity you want to do dry runs and give feedback, or to perhaps just give you a venue if your topic makes it through the CFP process. So we had 5 reviewers. 2 of them were external. The external reviewers bring a nice perspective to the process. We informed our process. We asked our speakers about recording, and many were open to being recorded. In 2019, we didn't record at all, and that was a conscious decision. About 1 in 8, though, preferred no video. So our plan was to remove the cameras during a block of one of the days so that they were not recorded. Of those, though, several of them made the transition to virtual with us, and a few didn't, and we'd welcome them back this year, and we respect their desires to either maintain their data not being broadcast onto the internet, or to have that interactive experience that they wanted interacting with people during their talk. Now, going a little bit into some of our lessons, I don't know that we've learned a lot. I don't know if any of it's settled in the past couple of weeks. But one of the things that we learned quickly from ourselves, and also from the Wild West Hackin' Fest and the Black Hills InfoSec folks that ran Wild West Hackin' Fest San Diego, they said that you need a good camera, but you need a great mic. And the deal is, if you can't hear people, it's really hard to present. If you can't see somebody, you can still present with the slides. You can sort of be fuzzy in the corner, but being able to present requires good audio. And the intention was that we would ascertain, make a judgment through AV tests on if they needed new gear, and then we would ship them new gear. The problem was that in our 2-week planning period, we took several days to do technology testing and evaluation and pick our platforms. And then we scheduled with speakers. And by the time that had happened, the global pandemic had reached a state where folks like Amazon were literally delaying non-essential shipments. So even if we wanted to, we couldn't ship cameras to folks. So the AV test was about helping people improve on their side, but we were fairly limited in what we could do with the equipment that they already had. And clearly the depiction here is people having fun during AV test. And if you didn't see it, go watch the video of Vis's talk. It's very Doom themed and was appropriately in the Path of Doom track. So if you recall last year, even though it was our first time, we'd all been to many conferences, and we tried some new things, even though it was our first time doing a conference. And part of the things we tried were things like yellow lanyards to indicate visually your preference to not be photographed. So this year, we also had new things to try, but it turns out the new things that we tried were not what we expected. So our rough platform for pulling this thing off was speakers would connect to Zoom individually. I'll go over a little bit of that process here in a minute. And then Zoom would be tied in, the broadcast stream would be tied into some software called Open Broadcaster. And then that would go to Vimeo, which would then reflect that back out to all of you guys. It seemed like there were a few hiccups, and some of the Vimeo clients had different problems, but overall, it seemed like a lot of people were able to find some success there. There's clearly some different pieces that could happen. Right now, we have this huge pipeline that happens between what the speaker says and when it actually gets to the audience's ears. We could have internet connection problems all along the way, and we have different types of feedback in different places, and we trust and have different fidelity at different types of feedback. We tried to monitor that as close as we could, and there's probably some things that we might do differently if we were to do this again, or if we have to do this again in the future. But wanted to get this here for the folks that are watching this, hoping to do something similar, or to have some lessons learned for what they're going to do for their conferences in the future that are inevitably going to be impacted by this, the state that we're in as a society. So a process that actually evolved clear up to being during the conference was that we had dedicated speaker wranglers. I don't know who's on the screen. One of them is clearly on the screen, but Wasey and Jerry did a fantastic job wrangling speakers, getting them ready ahead of their talk slot and enabling us to have relatively timely transitions between our talks. The speakers were all clearly very copacetic and willing to work with our process and trying to make it happen. So the speakers, some of them had to learn this technology from scratch. Some of them were more familiar, but we got them set up and tested, and then got them set up ready to go live in their own Zoom rooms. The speaker wranglers would make sure that they're ready to go. So as you can see on the side there, we had tons of Zoom rooms that were scheduled so that there was no overlap on hosts. So the next bullet is hosts. So we had two types of hosts. You're probably aware that myself and Jason hosted the different tracks just to provide some transition material between the speakers. But also Zoom has a technology piece to a host, where a host is sort of like the owner of a Zoom meeting. And if two meetings with the same host are tried, the same owner or host are tried to start at the same time, one of them stops. So if we're using Zoom meetings as sort of speaker green rooms, you have to be aware of collisions and make sure that we're not inadvertently bumping speakers that are live on the stream in some way. And then we have OBS operators. I can see Tyler and Dan are both on the screen right now. And they did a rock star job, not only doing the OBS operator stuff during the streams, but also in learning this stuff enough in the past 2 weeks to make some great what they call scenes, the layouts that go to the stream, and to understand how the transitions work, the best way to stream, and how Vimeo, our streaming agent, worked, and all of the different bits and pieces that go from Zoom out to you guys as viewers. And then we had a lot of logistic decisions that we had to make as an organizing committee. Schedule changes, like we have people in different time zones. Does it make sense to take a lunch break? We decided it did not because we didn't know what time zone people were going to be in. So we went sort of straight through the day. Do we do breaks at all? Roughly our decision-making process was we do need breaks. People need to be able to go and use the restroom, grab some nourishment. Also, we thought that it would be good to have some built-in opportunities for the streams to catch up in case they diverged in time. If we had technical issues with the speaker and needed to have some padding and sort of just normal agenda logistics. And so then we had the problem of, well, what if a speaker ends early? Like, this is all digital. We want our tracks to sort of line up so that people can go between talks and choose their own adventure on the agenda. So hopefully you got a kick out of a lot of the, what are those things called?
Bumper videos.
Bumpers. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't know they were called bumpers until yesterday or Thursday. But I hope you like the bumpers, the little short in-between videos. We were able to, I think, get a pretty fun collection of them in a pretty short amount of time. Thanks to everybody that contributed some of the bumpers, the OC members and the sort of, not the who's who, but sort of some known folks around the hacking community. Hopefully that brought you some levity and brought you some time. Also, thanks to Dolcor for loaning us his music to play during the intermissions where there wasn't video. There were clearly some issues. Some of you experienced some issues. Like, nobody likes to log into their streaming service and see, oh, there are no things set up for streaming right now, and see something weird happen, kind of error messages at the bottom. Like, that's not fun to see when you're in the middle of a weekend. And it's also fun to sort of discover some errors in the streaming service and then actually be awarded a bug bounty, like during the weekend, which actually happened. But that's also not fun when you're using them to stream your entire conference to all your attendees. So there's definitely some learning curves, and there's just some results of the technology choices that you make. Some other things due to timing. We were so late in the game. not late in the game, we're so late in the decision-making process, so close to the conference, that now we have things like "Don't take picture of me" lanyards that say KernelCon 2020 on them, that we elected to not ship to you guys because we didn't know, like, what are the ramifications of our own photo policy if you guys wear yellow ones and then get on the screen as speakers and at these workshops and things. Clearly, if you've decided to turn your camera on, you must be aware that you could be photographed. But we just elected not to ship you to these. So now we have hundreds of these yellow lanyards. If you come to KernelCon 2021, don't be shocked if you get a KernelCon 2020 lanyard for the no picture lanyard. We had students. This is something that might have been neglected a little bit more during the conference than it would have been if it was in person. We did support several students with registration. I know that some of them tuned in. I don't know how many. We would have tracked it and tried to facilitate our student population a little bit better in person. But we didn't send out hacker education kits. The logistics of that with the late packing and Dan's family facilitating all the packing kind of made that a challenging process. But hopefully the students that we did award those scholarships to, which effectively became virtual admission and swag, hopefully they got some value out of that. We'll come back strong with the student program next year, hopefully, with the travel and the hotel and the education kit. Speaker slides. One of the big things that we did wrong last year is we didn't plan well for a collection of speaker slides. This year, we had an awesome plan for collecting speaker slides in the speaker rooms, but then we went 100% remote. And you might have seen some chatter today. Some speakers are like, "Where should I put my slides?" And like, we don't have that ready. So hopefully this doesn't become a perennial thing. But much like last year, we'll hunt them down. We'll try to get them up on the website. The 2019 website, if you're not familiar, it's archived as a subdomain. So you can go to our 2019 website, the same as it was last year for posterity, has the slides that we were able to track down right there in the agenda. And it'll just show up kind of right next to the name. We'll announce it on Twitter. It'll end up on the website. All right, and for this, I'm going to stop for a little bit and hand it over to Tyler and ScotchSec. I don't know which names I should use. ScotchSec and ZonkSec, I guess.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so Aaron and I worked on the badge last year. We had the help of Jerry last year as well, but Jerry kind of took over training this year, so Aaron and I went on. If you sat in Aaron and I's talk that was just right before this, you got a pretty good feeling for how crazy it was in light of all the COVID-19 type stuff. Anyways, here's some of the stats. So we went through about 4 different badge prototypes. So fixing various bugs along the way. And what it seems weird, but we would rather had a few more, but towards the end there, it was so difficult to get them back in time that we just couldn't. So we kind of had to roll the dice in a few different areas. 6 badge types. So for hacker, speaker, organizer, Eternal Kernel, instructor. Am I missing anything? Organizer? I don't know. So the badges get made in panels just for efficiency reasons. And so we had 230 PCB panels manufactured, which results in 1,840 individual badges, and cut that in half because it takes 2 boards of a badge to make it. We're ordering this stuff semi-early, and you don't know how much is going to be wrong, and you don't know how much influx in attendees you're going to have, so you just kind of aim high. 64 pounds of batteries, 8,200 nuts. There's 46 parts per badge. 12 of those are unique, and we went through 2 real prototypes. And in the end, in the end, we only ordered 500 reels. So next slide. You got the next slide, Tim?
You're on mute, Tim.
Sorry, I thought I did go to the next slide. I don't know. See here. What's going on?
It's been a long couple of days.
It has been.
Yeah.
I've lost the window entirely. Hold on.
Popcorn break.
Yep.
Yeah. Why is it not working? It's
At least
working.
we'll have any problems at the end.
Yep.
Sharing is paused. Bring your shared window to the front. How do you do that?
Or did you pause? There
I
you go.
guess I paused it.
Looks live now. One more. Sweet. So in the end of all those PCBs, that mass number of PCBs we had made, only a subset of those got turned into actual badges, getting parts placed on them. So 55 hacker, 7 speaker, 6 crew, so on and so forth. And then, that puts the parts on the PCB, but we still have to nut and bolt them together, solder on battery packs, solder on the interconnect for the front and the back board. So there is still a leg of work there, even once the assembly from our manufacturer is done. In the end, we made about 600 badges. There's about 11% failure rate this year. And what that kind of is all about is there's a lot of things that can go wrong, whether a part is bad to begin with. Maybe the part gets ruined when it's going through the oven to get soldered together. Maybe the part gets placed sideways. Maybe there's too much paste and some leads are jumped. Like, there's so many spots in the path that things can go wrong. You pretty much just bank on 10 to 20% is the sort of the common rule of thumb we've been working around. 10 to 20% of them to be failures, not work. And when we're assembling them, especially under this sort of accelerated timeline, you don't have time to debug those. You just toss them in a pile and move on. And so we were very, very happy with 11%. Like I said, the 10 to 20, and we're on the low end of that. So that was good. Normally, we want to do this whole process in about 3 to 4 weeks. So that 3 to 4 weeks includes having our assembler make them and then us putting the nuts and bolts together. And we did it in 7. 7 days. Yeah. So we did it in about 1/4 of the time than what we would have wanted. And it was pretty intense. And huge shout out to our assemblers. Their company name is BA Engineering. They're local to Omaha. They crushed out, so they did placing all the parts on the board. They did that in 3 days. And granted, their part is largely automated, but they still have to pump all those machines. And we usually give them 2 weeks to do that, and they did it in 3 days. So of those 7 days, that's mostly on Aaron and I, not on them. So yeah. Next slide. I think that's just it. There's all 6 of them. I mentioned this in our badge talk that was right before this. If you have any issues with your badge that gets mailed to you, first and foremost, sorry. Secondly, please bring it to KernelCon next year or any other year after that, and bring it to the Hardware Hacking Village, and we will be more than happy to fix it or replace it. That's it. That's all I got.
That one's the one that's on right now.
Your mic's hot, Tim.
Sorry, it's not me, it's Dan. We're going to talk about swag now.
Great.
Now we're both on, and now camera's dropping. Yeah, swag was fun. We decided to ship everything for the most part. So basically, before the con came up, or when we went virtual, we said, we have all this swag that's already ordered. What are we going to do with it? We need to get to the attendees. So basically, we sent out a notice to everyone, basically asking, should we get shipping or just deliver swag to you locally? And this is when COVID was still, escalating. So we didn't have shipping addresses, so we needed to get them from everybody, and that was a little bit of a difficult situation. And as Tim said, we ended up packing about 360 swag bags in a few days. We had to rush some of our, sorry, I'm hearing myself in the headset. We had to rush some of our items because they were coming a little bit later. and we had to get them before the con. And we ended up getting pretty much everything and getting most of it out to attendees. We got 236 that were sent out via USPS, different addresses. We porch dropped another 37. We didn't really want to have big groups come together for COVID, so we kind of just did that on the fly. And then we had another 45 attendees before the con that hadn't given us their address yet. We hadn't been able to get in touch. So we are still working to get that, and some have probably come in, and we've had more people register since then. So we'll still be sending out swag for the next week or so. But yeah, we had tons of it come through. My family all helped put it together. Our house was a mess for 3 or 4 days over a weekend, and just nonstop packing and stuffing and shipping, and yeah, all these great photos here. So that's a small portion of the boxes. I think, they stacked up 4 different post office runs, filling up a car. Scotch Sec over there helped me out, Aaron, by giving me a dolly, because otherwise it would have been a lot of walking back and forth. So, but we got it done, and hopefully there weren't too many mistakes. A little bit of errors here and there, but everything looks pretty good. And then beyond that, we had stickers, and stickers are really important to KernelCon. Last year we came in with I think it was 13 stickers for the year that we designed ourselves. And this year we said we really want to go ahead and do a call for stickers. So we did put out a call for stickers. We got 4 great responses. So we said we got to throw them in there. Would like to see a lot more. So next year, submit your own sticker designs when we do a call for stickers. We want to see your stickers at the con. All the rest of our stickers, we kind of just threw together ourselves in the fly. And I didn't know that video was going to keep playing. And then, there's one secret sticker related to the CTF that we had to scrap. But, we got a bunch of those, and we'll see what happens. But next year, get us your stickers. We want to see that. And I think, just more pictures of the packaging of stickers. Yes, that's stacks of stickers. And I think on Twitter, I said something like, what does it look like when you have 8,000 hacker stickers? That's kind of what it looks like that come through. So that's it's a lot of stickers. And I think that's about all.
Sticker life is strong at KernelCon.
Yes, it is.
Wasey wanted to say a couple words about the crew. Like everything else, going virtual with the crew was a change, right? An unexpected change that we did in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Dan. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Yeah, so this year we had 42 people registered to be a volunteer, to be a part of the KernelCon crew. 27 of those were selected. 13 of those were actual crew veterans from last year. So we really appreciate the community as a whole coming together to want to help out in these conferences. I wish I had better statistics on who was virtual or who was local versus who was national, but I try not to take as much data. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who does volunteer for conferences. It's you that really helps keep the operations going. We even had 2 speakers that were crew this year as well as last year. And all of them are awesome, right? So just hats off to all the crew, even though we didn't get to fully utilize and experience a physical conference this year. I hope that you come back next year to help us continue on KernelCon. Next slide, Tim. So there's just to give you a little bit on what it would have been like if it would have been a physical conference. So what we do for our volunteers is we try to do them in 4-hour shifts. And we also schedule them around any workshops that they may purchase themselves. So we try to do that so they can enjoy the conference as well. Some people end up sticking around and they just hang around their station for a good amount of time, and hats off to those humans that do that. Really appreciate all of the help that extends beyond your shift. It's really great to have those people that float around and just see things that need to be done and just take action. Those are great. People like that are just they're what make our conference continue to be successful. They're also our friends and they're our community, right? So everyone that wants to volunteer, that wants to get active in the conferences, please do so. Reach out to any conferences that you like to go to and ask them how you can help. It's people like you that keep driving these conferences forward. So thanks to everybody who volunteered this year. I hope to see you around next year as well. That's it. Thanks, Tim.
I was wondering if that slide was going to move. I moved it, but it didn't pick up in the cloud. So I guess that's a bit of a spoiler. Like we are clearly planning to have this not be the last KernelCon. There's a lot of unknowns in the world right now, but we hope that we can go back to an in-person conference next year. Will there be a virtual component or something? I don't know. We haven't gotten that far. We're still getting through making this conference a virtual conference right now. But we had fun. Hopefully you guys had some fun. There's not a lot of pictures from sort of around the con, since most of that happened in Discord. We didn't know what people's sharing preferences were with the things that were shared on Discord. But there's lots of different pieces. If anybody wants to jump in, just do the Zoom jump in. It's my turn to talk. If you want to narrate over one of these pictures or something, I got 2 sets of pictures. We got the stations that we use for streaming up in the corner. You can see Dan on the side of my office here, right over there. And
I did not authorize that photo. I did not authorize.
You're not wearing a yellow lanyard. You're one of the 2 people that could be wearing a yellow lanyard, because they're right over there. Tyler, his sort of dining room kitchen area was converted to a bit of a studio for the weekend. But yeah, hopefully people found different ways to view. Just because there wasn't enough going on, we had Windows updates that decided to apply to our broadcasting stations that were working just fine. And then Windows update occurred last night. So we got some reconfiguration opportunities this morning. Hopefully we had a speaker that I've already recruited her to donate slides to a Who Slide contest next year. But she deadpan started her talk with Corn Cobs, Nebraska's first toilet paper. And I know her, and she's a really sharp person. And I was watching that and was like, all right, I'm curious to see how she's going to tie this back to vulnerability management, but I think she could do it. And 2 slides later, she's like, all right, that was just a joke. Now we're going to do the real one. But hopefully we can have some content from her for the Who Slide at Kernel Panic next year. You want to say anything about this slide or the last one, Adam?
The CTF room had a Zoom. We all used Tron backgrounds there in the corner. People could pop in. We had a few people pop in the first day, but second day, nobody had any in-person questions. It was all through Discord. The first day, though, one of our CTF challenge writers passed out in his seat. So Jacob was responsible for a lot of the reversing challenges. And I know he thought it was awesome that a lot of people did well with him. So
He didn't.
I think a lot of people lose sleep during CTFs. And if you've never organized one, you don't understand perhaps the level of effort it takes to put one on as a main organizer or as just a challenge author or challenge creator. So Jacob might have put in a few too many hours.
he also works nights. So this guy, he works nights, full-time student, and writing challenges. More on that later.
So with that, when you do in person, there's different opportunities. Not everybody wants to do the own the con, and how conferences organize maybe isn't of interest, the transparency or just not the topic you want. So sometimes the closing ceremonies are separate. Last year, due to scheduling reasons, we combined them. This year, due to virtual, we decided to combine them as well. So to sort of formally end the own the con part. I have not been able to be very active in Discord. I might pop over here quick and just scan to see if we've got questions.
Lots of comments.
Lots of comments. Maybe it wasn't
a couple questions pinned in lobby
questions.
Get some questions pinned.
Oh, there are pinned questions?
Yep.
in LobbyCon.
In LobbyCon. Okay, I have not been looking there.
So
I
one
signed
that
up
was
late.
asked
Our
is,
badges still going out. We still have some badges, correct, Aaron and Tyler? Yep. I think we will probably send badges out until we run out of badges. That will be.
We have enough to cover registrations, I think, that have come in. We may actually have to make a couple of panels, which shouldn't be an issue, but it might be a little bit of time. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, we should be able to.
Right, I guess that's an important thing. So there will be some delay if you register now just to get the swag, or if you registered recently, sort of after or filled out the address form after we sent things out. We did run out of some sizes of t-shirts. We're going to do a reorder. If you needed some extra t-shirts or you signed up late, that might delay your order. Badges similar. If you tuned in for the Own the Con or for the badge talk, there were sort of layers of assembly. We do have some badges fully assembled, and we have more badges sort of partway through the process. So there might be a delay depending on what state your badge is in. But we do hope to ship that stuff out. I will say that in, what did we say? I said like a week, right? Oh, I think at the end here. I think about April 4th, we're probably going to do the cutoff for requests. So if you want more registration items, swag items, additional t-shirts, please get your request in by then so that we can get the shipping sent out. This is different than the digital store that was mentioned in Discord. That is a make as you buy, where it ships directly from a vendor. So this only applies to the stuff that we're assembling and sort of packaging ourselves here in Omaha. How much popcorn did you order and ship? 7 cases that each had, Dan's demonstrating 7 cases that each had 12 of those boxes. There are 12 in there?
One for attendees, 12 in here.
There was 12 in there, and I think there were 12 or 16 boxes per case.
Oh, per case, yeah.
Yeah. I think, if I remember, I think it was about 210 pounds of popcorn.
Yeah. I mentioned about the kernels.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. Just like the lanyards, we also have another 200 pounds of popcorn that's designed to be put into our popcorn machines because we had already ordered that before we made the transition to virtual. So there was, approaching 500 pounds of popcorn at my house a week ago. Now it's been mostly distributed, or at least by half of it's been distributed to you guys. Cancel that one. I see who answered this one. Scotch Tech's reminding me, we did want to see short videos if you had a good time and wanted to convey a message back out to attendees. One of the things that's challenging in this environment is you don't get to interact with attendees quite as much. If you took a workshop or jumped into one of the villages or the mental health one later, you can interact video-wise if you choose to with some other attendees, but a lot of our format was more asymmetric this year, and I know that's just a different experience. We did have some talks in Bad of Doom today about how that's more appealing to some people depending on sort of your personality type, if you're introverted, extroverted, that sort of thing. So it is kind of interesting that moving to this environment makes it different to communicate. It's not really a superset or a subset. So it's nice that some people, feel more comfortable in this type of environment, and it's something for con organizers to think about in the future. But if you wanted to give us a short video about, what you liked about Kernel Con, see you next year, I went virtual with us, that sort of thing. If you could get 10 to 20 second videos from everybody, Scotch Tech's running a little contest. We'll post those things back out and declare a winner. I think he wanted to declare a winner today, right? So maybe, is it too late? I don't know. Maybe I should have read further.
You actually wanted them by 3 today, but
okay, so the contest is over.
If you want to actually extend it out, I'm cool with that too. Give it a few more days.
Oh, that's okay. I don't want to change the rules. I would still, if you didn't get in for the contest though, please still feel free to share the videos. We will disseminate them in Discord and probably through some public channel. I don't do social media very well, but it'll probably be on Twitter or something in some way. Maybe that's a YouTube sort of thing, probably a YouTube sort of thing. All right, so moving on to the closing ceremonies. If you do have other questions, LobbyCons is as good a place as any. Hopefully one of the organizers will come in. Yes, many thanks to our sponsors. Actually, how about I actually just take some time to flip this over to Jason or Aaron or somebody to run through the start of the closing and the contest and the sponsors. Is Jason there?
Hey, yep. So what are we working on now?
You're taking over the slides.
All right. I have no idea what they look like. This
perfect.
is exciting.
It's like, whose slide is it?
I love it.
Whose slide?
All right. Yeah. So, and I was just thanking sponsors also in the Discord channel. Seriously, this is not possible without them. Even moving to virtual, we need them. And the way that a lot of them stepped up and helped out in Discord and helped with swag, and just we're very thankful they all stayed with us as we went to virtual. So a big thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you very much. And anybody who hasn't visited their channel yet, please do. What's the next slide? I'm excited.
Oh Lord.
I will say, so I'm a host. I'm sure you guys are sick of seeing me, but I was happy to be in that channel and laugh at all the different ones that popped up. That was some fantastic work. In my opinion, all of you are winners. There are a number that I particularly liked, but I have no idea who won. But Aaron, I think, are you announcing the winners here?
I can do that if needed.
These are my Aaron slides. Sorry, that was a brief transition to Jason.
All right, I'm passing it off to Aaron.
No problem. So obviously none of this is rehearsed. So I went ahead and trolled Tim because it was a lot of fun. He got a lot of attention the first day of the con. So I figured, what the hell? I'm kind of known as a troll, in case you're not surprised by that. So first place, we have some racing drone kits. Last year we had a pretty cool workshop, about 4 hours long, where you could build your own racing drone. And we actually had permission from the hotel to fly drones. It was actually in our contract red line to be able to do that. To fly drones around the hotel. So we have some of those. So we'll give one of those away. They're about $200. They're really sweet. Your choice of a Kernel Con hoodie or polo or a quarter zip, and then we have one last $20 no starch press gift cert, good for one of their ebooks of $20. So next slide is going to be the first place. I chose these, by the way. So if you don't agree with my choices, well, oh well. I couldn't resist this one. This got probably the best reaction in the LobbyCon chat. So this was excellent.
I do like this. Some effort was made to make the KernelCon wrap correctly, the logo.
Yeah, it's true.
Also had a great name, the Timmy Tubbies.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah. I forgot to capture that when I did these slides. I did these on the fly too. So that's William H. Actually, so good job. So second place, we have Pokerfish with the Rapunzel beard, whatever we want to call this at this point. That got like the most likes and laughs of all the little emoticons. So I chose that one for second. And then third place, this one's creepy, but it went with the corn theme, so I was all for it. JM Hobbs here went ahead and got that no starch pressed ebook gift certificate. Sorry, and that's, I think, all I have written down for this one.
Got the picture.
Oh, sorry. This was my placeholder because the CTF slides, as always, are kind of late coming because the contest goes so late in the weekend. I forgot to remove that. That's from last year. But now Adam's got some slides to talk about the CTF, and go Adam.
Thanks, Tim. It looks like these were indeed late because our edits didn't get in. So we decided, March 11th, we decided to go virtual. And that kind of affected the CTF pretty heavily because we had a lot of in-person, challenges, things to do, all based around our theme. Tyler had coded an entire badge challenge category built into the badge, and there was all kinds of stuff that was going to be great for in person. So once we decided to go virtually, we had some serious questions to be answered, because a lot of us would have preferred it be virtual, because we were interested in or a lot of us would prefer to be in person. Sorry, my son just walked through. Because we had a lot of planning already put into that. But like Dan wrote in our draft, going virtual, we're hackers, and so we're going to make the best of whatever situation we can have. So we thought, all right, well, let's make a smaller base CTF using a digital type theme this year, a virtual theme. So we chose Tron, and then we decided that we're going to take our theme and all the cool stuff that we have in store, and we're going to really polish it up, and we're going to put out a fantastic CTF in 2021. So we had 14 days to come up. We thought we'd come up with like 6 to 8 challenges. And we started writing challenges, and then more and more people started helping and writing challenges. I have a lot of people to thank. They're actually all in the on the CTF special thanks page. If you're curious, it looks like they didn't make it into this slide. So we have a lot of people to thank, and then more and more people started writing challenges. And I thought, well, maybe we could do 6 to 8 challenges per day. And then we got more people interested, and then Nari stepped in and said, we have this entire contest we were going to do at our workshop, but we can't do it anymore because it's virtual. Would you like to add it to the CTF? So then we got the an entire category from Nari, which was great because they were doing the training in the operational technology village, and so you were able to go get training and then come and solve the challenges in the CTF and earn points. So it was a fantastic, synergy between us, and with them and all of the extra challenges that we were able to pull in, we actually had a full-fledged CTF. So in under 2 weeks, we wrote, we basically redid a whole CTF. So we have a CTF for 2021 already done, and now we have a CTF for this year ready to go. So that gives you a little bit of, interest. That gives you a little bit of introspection on basically what we ended up putting out. So go ahead and go to the next slide there. We had 121 players, 69 different teams, 276 challenges solved, and some attacks, which we might talk about later. Next slide, please.
I forget, Adam did, it was all team-based, right? Like there was no individual components to it? There
was the ability to sign up as a team. Up to 4 is what we wanted. You could sign up for more than 4, but we were only awarding 4 prizes. You could sign up as an individual, and it'd be your own team, but we don't know how many people are using the same login. So everything was based off of, because it went virtual, everything's based off of the assumption that, however many users per your team are mapped one-to-one with how many users that's actually participating.
Right.
So this is some more cool stats. The team composition right there that, answers Tim's question.
Right. Yep.
I wasn't sure if this slide made it in, so I thought I'd answer it too. But 45 teams had 1 user, 10 teams with 2, 7 teams with 3, 3 teams with 4 users, and then 3 teams with too many users. But and then we had 30 challenges, and most challenges got solved out of all of our categories. Some of the open source intelligence ones were a little more difficult than I intended, but again, we hid them all like this week. So, and then there was one web one which I think started a support group in Slack or in Discord. So that was pretty interesting.
Are they aware that there's a mental health hacker session later tonight?
That's a good point, Tim. All you Web 500 support group goers, please make sure to check in today to the Mental Health Village tonight. go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, so these are some of the attacks that we had to endure. We were running we built the whole framework too, thanks to Jairus, Rue, Nate Wood, and Ryan Grangenet a long time ago worked with me on building this entire framework. And it's been a long process, but it worked really well. At one point we had some downtime, and it went down, and it was stood back up within like a minute 20, a minute 40 around that time frame. So it was really impressive that we were able to spin it back up, and a lot of that goes to those guys who helped build it. So it was also interesting because we had ops to be able to watch it, and somebody ran Durbuster for 18 hours, for example. We thought that was pretty funny. We'd love to know if they found anything. It was just really interesting that it ran like all night, all the way till the morning when we decided to push an update. There was plenty of NICDO and Nmap scans. There was a GraphQL introspection with users attempting to create their own points, delete challenges before others could solve them, escalate privileges, find hidden flags. Overall, we didn't have to ban any users. Like, we had fail to ban set up, but everything turned out fine. So with the one exception being that I had a Slack bot challenge where you had to find the Slack invite, go to the Slack channel, use the support bot to query and run cross-site scripting attacks on 2 different challenges. Well, because it's not a paid Slack platform, I couldn't have enough access control on the users to prevent them from being able to add and delete bots. And so someone deleted the bot, so I had to just give away those 2 flags. But that was the one negative case out of 30 challenges, so that wasn't too bad. Go ahead and go forward. Okay, great. So now let's talk about the Eternal Kernel winners. First off, I should say just a special thanks to Splunk and Secure Sky for sponsoring this event. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to put this on or even context switch to this new online-only CTF. For a while there, the DEF CON qualifiers were scheduled against us, but they actually postponed theirs. So we were able to hopefully get some more attendance, which was really awesome. This year we have a new team. We almost had repeat champions. But this year we had a new team who just snuck in barely at the end. The Cyber Janitorial Security Services, which is a great name. That's actually made up with people from New Mexico and Idaho, someone from New Mexico, I believe is Owen, came here last year to speak as a speaker, and he was able to bring people back in, and they ended up winning. So that was really awesome. They won the Eternal Kernel badge. They also won a network implant kit from Hack5 and a signed copy of the Binary Analysis Cookbook by Michael Bourne, who wrote some of those reversing challenges that people were having fun with. So, as you know, one of KernelCon's things that we like to do is, of course, recognize the winners, but we also put in prizes for all of the contestants who solved at least 5 challenges. So virtually, this doesn't really work with me running a bunch of spinners. Nate actually uploaded all of the users except for these 4 winners to a Tim's showing off some of the prizes to a random site generator, and he ran it and picked out 10 winners. And then I just took the 10 prizes we had and just mapped them 1-to-1. The first prize we had went to the person who got selected first, all the way down. And the next slide has our 10 winners. If you could do that, Tim. No, it doesn't. Okay. Our 10 winners. This is so funny. Okay, our 10 winners. I'm going to announce the winners right now. These are your handles on the CTF site. Now, if I announce you've won, make sure to private message me on Discord, and we'll get shipping and everything arranged. I do have a way to verify you, but your username on our CTF site didn't have to be the same as it didn't have to be the same as your username on Discord. So we'll go ahead and paste this in the LobbyCon, but I'll read them out to you real quick. Winning the WHID Elite was XEHLE. Winning the Dope Scope was Marg. Winning the Ubertooth 1 was Leo. Winning the Raspberry Pi 4 kit was Sarah N. Sec. Winning the Raspberry Pi 0 wireless kit was JamSec. Winning the Weather Station 8266 was Manolet. Winning the ELE Goo Mega 2560 kit was Mock. Pixie 2 Smart Vision sensor was Heller. OMG micro to USB-A, the OMG cable, was JM Hobbs, who I saw once the corn contest for the Photoshop. And then the OMG cable, USB-C to USB-A cable, the winner was ZLZ, who was a speaker this year. So yeah, thank you, Tim. So those are this year's winners. Congrats to them. Private message me on Discord. We'll get shipping addresses and drop off all worked out. So the CTF was a ton of fun this year. It went off without a hitch. Next year we have all year to polish up next year, and we're really excited to bring you next year's content. Let me know if you won. So thanks, Tim. Thanks to the organizers. The OC was amazing. The streaming was awesome. All time, all conference long. So thanks so much.
Yeah, here I am. Last minute slide. It's great. Maybe it'll pop up. We'll see how fast Google is, because I just edited this as I saw that this thing happen. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who came into the books are awesome slide. Look at that, it's right there. Thanks for sharing your collection. I know I like to read a lot of books. It's funny enough, I couldn't post a recent picture of my own bookcase because I tore it down to make room for new stuff. But things like that, being able to read books, having something, just to step away from the computer every now and then, really help people out, especially when you're kind of cooped up and you can get into that mindset of, using your imagination to see what's going on instead. So thanks to everybody who posted those pictures and told us about your favorite books, technical and non-technical. So the winners that were picked, after I took all the pictures and put them in Drive and we all kind of looked at them, were 0x Kale, or Kail, however you say that. So congrats to you. That was a great picture. I really liked that there was a dog in it. I think that really helped out. And then Tony Bernard also. If you didn't also watch his talk, it was great. Great job, Tony. And then JC77. So thanks everyone for doing that, for sharing some of your office experience, your home experience with everyone else. It really helps us come together as a community. I'm going to post this information inside Discord and try to reach out to you private message as well. And we'll do what we can to get you those $20 No Starch Press vouchers. Thanks.
Wait, Steve, did you do that under duress?
I don't know if that video's in here, but.
All right. Are you going to announce that? No? Okay. All right. We have a survey. Obviously, this year was a little bit different than we were planning, but we went virtual. Again, thank you for all being a part of this. We have a survey to see what you guys think. We want to improve in every way that we can. So please do the survey. And you can also email any feedback to feedback@kernelcon.org, or on Discord. If you find somebody who's yellow or green, you can ping them. As it says, this is less ideal. We prefer the email or through the survey. If you have an address form so you can get all the swag, there is a deadline. So get that filled out by April 4th and we'll ship you all the stuff. And we want to hear what you think, how we did, what we can improve upon. So whatever works best for you, let us know. Next slide, sir. So I want to end. This year I was the general chair. So my job was to let all of the other chairs do what they need to do to give a great con and help remove any barriers. This con ended the way it did because of everybody on this call, except for maybe me. They all worked so hard and did so much. So a huge shout out and thank you to every organizer. Everything that went well is because of them. Any failures are on me. But I'm very thankful and honored to have worked with all of them. Again, a huge shout out to all of the sponsors and to every single attendee. We do this for you guys. We do this to help this community, not just Omaha and the local area, but InfoSec. We want beginners, we want experts, we want everybody to participate, to learn, to teach. So we do this for you. So thank you for attending. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you in person next year. We are having another con and details will come soon. We're ironing out dates already. So thank you very, very much. Stay safe and wash your hands. Have a good one.
Hey, there was also another OC member that wasn't here. It was Heather Lawrence, InfoSec Anon, did a great job with all of the graphics that you'd see, or at least most of them. It really helped out a lot. So just want to hats off to her for helping us out.
Absolutely.